Earl Green has volunteered to discuss one of his deals that he's done recently. He's been very patient waiting to discuss it since he put in the information back in December.
It's all good.
And Earl joined CFRI a couple years ago, so he's relatively new. And he is going to talk to us tonight about a note deal he did.
Yes. You guys hear me all right? Yeah? Okay. So, so this is a note deal that we started in February of last year and closed it out in November. And we originally got into it for about $14K and got out of it at $45.
And the note, for some people who might not understand that, they didn't buy the house.
Right.
They bought the note.
So basically the mortgage, the underlying mortgage. And when we bought it, it had already been through foreclosure and just needed to go to sale. So we kind of jumped right in there at the end.
So it was a non-performing.
It was a non-performing loan.
Do you know how long it had been non-performing?
4 years.
So the foreclosure had started already?
Yeah, so it took about 3 years before the foreclosure started. The previous borrower the previous lender had started the foreclosure, finished it, but didn't actually take it to sale. And so we picked it up right there in the middle.
And how did you find this note?
So we found it through a fund. Actually, I partnered with Sean Lee on this.
Raise your hand, Sean. Are we here in orange?
So I had just gotten started on this. Sean had good deal flow, and I was looking for a deal, so we partnered up.
And how did you go about purchasing it?
Gotcha. So maybe that's the little scary part. So it does involve wiring money to a fund. So thankfully, Sean had already checked them out. But yeah, we purchased it, did all the due diligence, did the due diligence and purchased it. And then it took about a couple weeks to get all the collateral, and then picked up with the attorney.
And the $45,000 value you said, explain that a little bit.
Right, so as part of due diligence, we do a couple things, one of them including checking out title and the whole chain of assignments. The other one is getting a local agent or someone to tell us what they think it's worth, so we know we're not buying something that's obviously worth less than we're paying. So we had the agent, he came in, he valued it at $45,000, and we're actually still working with that agent to this day.
And what was your plan for the property?
So ideally, we'd like to work these things out and not foreclose, even though it actually sort of already happened. We were still willing to work with the borrower. They didn't want to talk to us. So we finished with for sale, and the plan was at that point to sell it. We knew we'd like to work it out. The numbers still work, but when it wasn't, the plan was to sell. And
how did you try to work it out?
Gotcha. So we had our agent and attorney and pretty much anyone else we could get a hold of go ahead and try to make contact with him, FedEx letters, being served, pretty much everywhere we could, and he just wouldn't talk to us. He was convinced it was still in probate.
And was it vacant, or was somebody living there?
So the occupant there was actually the son of the original borrower.
And the original borrower
The original borrower was deceased.
Died. Dead.
Yes.
Okay. So he wasn't around anyway. So he wasn't answering the calls.
So I'm sorry. So to be more direct, yes, of course they weren't answering the calls. It was actually the son we were trying to get in contact with.
Okay.
As we knew it wasn't the borrower, but we thought it may have been.
So right away, did you start the foreclosure process, or continue with the foreclosure, or did you try to end up talking to him at all?
So we had made initial contact, and we found out enough to know that he thought it was still in probate, which was contrary to the information we had. So we got that all tracked down and know it wasn't in probate, and then he wouldn't talk to us anymore. So that being said, we got the attorney involved. The attorney got with the judge, finished it out, took it to sale, and at that point he was willing to talk.
How long did that take from the time you bought the note to finally?
So I would say it was close to 6 months, even though we had hoped it would be faster. But we found out you can't really rush a judge or an attorney. How it goes. But there were some questions with the judge regarding what was taking so long to get sold or to take it to sale.
Okay.
And so once we got that all worked out, went to sale pretty quickly, about a month and a half. And at that point, it didn't sell at auction. We had set a price lower, hoping it would. It didn't sell at auction. And so it came back as an REO. At that point, we owned it, and we had to sell it. And so we marketed it with our agent.
Okay, so This is a little bit about the house itself.
A little bit more about it. It's a, I don't know why you always want to turn around.
Yeah.
3-bedroom, 1-bath. We thought it might be 2-bath. The county records weren't very good. Our agent, thankfully, was familiar with mobiles in the area, so it's a manufactured home. And he figured it was probably 2-bath. It was on 3/4 of an acre of land, which really gave it the value. It was really nice. It was across the street from the lake. And the manufactured home was built in '99.
And you sold it? How?
So yes, so we sold it through our agent. We had originally tried to sell it to the occupant, see if he wanted it. He did, but he couldn't pay for it. So we marketed it through our agent, and between the borrower, well, who would have been the borrower, the occupant, we'll call him, the occupant and our agent were able to find a local investor that came in and purchased it.
So the actual occupant himself helped you find somebody to buy it so that what would happen? So
we don't know necessarily all the dynamics, but I got a contract from my agent that had a good price on it, and that was good enough for me. So all the inner workings of if he was going to rent it back or whatever that was, that's fine with me. So yes, that being said, the total out of pocket was about $18,000. So the original purchase price of $14,000, and then about $4,000 in legal and all kinds of other fees. And yeah, we didn't put a dollar into the place.
Did you ever go there yourself?
Never went there. Never saw it in person. Didn't rehab it. Didn't swing a hammer. Just got it to sale.
And you're happy with the outcome?
Yeah. So it was over 100% return. So I'll take that.
Thank you, Earl. And now we need some questions from the audience. Any questions from anybody? You can come up and use a microphone. That'd be great. It's hard to get out of the seats sometimes.
I'm sorry, maybe you already said this, but how do you find those kinds of deals?
Gotcha. So it was purchased through a fund. Funds will often buy these from banks in large numbers. And then kind of once you make those contacts, sort of like a wholesaler or something, you make contacts with those sort of people, and they'll give you access to pick a couple of them off. So that's what we do.
Any more questions?
I don't know if this would take a whole lecture, but can you explain the details or dynamics of how a non-performing note works?
Doesn't work?
Yeah, I'll try real quickly. So
Quickly.
Yeah, so if you stop paying on your mortgage, sometimes it's easier for the bank to sell it to somebody that's going to try and work it out rather than do it themselves because of a scale issue. So when that happens, they become available and we'll purchase them.
And this was a bank that was the lender or a private individual?
So yeah, to get more into the details, so the bank doesn't want to sell 1 or 2 at a time. Typically, they'll sell 100 of them to a fund, and then the fund will manage sort of divvying them up, and we'll purchase them from the fund.
I walked in the middle. I thought didn't it say the non-performing note that it implied that they owed like $40,000 or $60,000 or something like that? So the bank wrote that off and just took that as a loss?
Yes. So yes, they owed about 60 actually. Yeah, the bank took it as a loss, sure.
Just real quick, why would a bank want to sell it to you at such a discount?
So yeah, it sounds a little crazy, but to them, they're not set up to basically work through REOs. So it's not worth their time. They'll typically say or money to try and get it worked out where they have to work with an attorney, they get it sold, and that may take a year, maybe more. Banks aren't interested in it.
I have a question for you. How did you find the out-of-town agent to choose?
So one of the places I like to start is we use a national service sometimes to order a BPO to get a price on it. And the agent's email address was on there. And so that's normally the first place I'll start to see if they're any good. And this agent really knew his stuff. So,
did they tell you the BPO price?
So we ordered the BPO, and actually on the BPO sheet, it gave us the price.
And was it similar to what you sold it for?
Yeah, so amazingly enough, I don't know if it's good or bad, but our agent does a lot of BPOs in that area, and he doesn't keep them after he submits them. I don't know why, but I talked to him afterward, and we sold for 45, and his quick sale as is price was 45, which is amazing.
So he did a good job.
He did a great job. That doesn't normally happen.
Awesome. Let's give Earl a hand.
Thank you.